Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Noel here from Blackwater Salmon Fishery. Hope all you guys are keeping well in these very difficult times we're experiencing at the moment. In today's video, Glenda's going to explain to us what she will bring for your typical day's guiding by the river here at the Blackwater. So if that's the kind of content you like and you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us here at the fishery. Let's get into it straight away here. Glenda has some good tips for us.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Today what I'd like to talk about is what goes in my bag when I'm going guiding. Now what I must say is that many years ago this was a totally different story. Here what we have is fly fishing equipment. When I first started to guide almost 30 years ago, we would have had spinners and worms and shrimps and everything else, but most people today are now fly fishing. What I also have done is I have stripped back this bag because you notice, like, it's the same as a kitchen drawer. The bigger the area, the more you can put into it. These are what I would consider the essentials. And the first thing is a good bag, and this is a perfect bag. It's waterproof, and that means an awful lot if you're out there every day of the week guiding and you're coming back and all of your bits and pieces are totally wet and damp and you have to dry them out every night. So I love this waterproof bag. It's good, big enough to be able to carry anything I want to carry into it, and it has internal pockets, which is great. Moving on a little bit to the safety aspect. When I'm guiding, I love to have a wading stick, and this collapsible wading stick is fantastic. Not only for me, but just in case I have somebody out there that feels a little bit wobbly or they don't feel too comfortable, I can give them the wading stick and I can then guide them back in towards the bank. The first aid kit is essential. And I always carry this. This is a very basic one. This is what I would consider to be a day kit. This kit is often used just for small cuts and grazes, but it has all sorts of stuff in here if we needed to. The last thing in safety would be your sunscreen. Very important, as of course we can get very burnt out in the river. This then is my fishing license, and even though I don't guide or I don't fish when I'm guiding, it's very important to have. I might pick up the person's rod and have a few casts, and of course if I do that then I need to have this license with me all the time. And in the waterproof pouch, again, it's great. Moving on to what we would put on the end of the fly line then. So what I have is, if you imagine that the rod and the fly line and the reel and everything is already set up, and the person of course has his waders and life jacket and everything on, then all I need in my bag is the terminal tackle. So I have a series of tips that I can choose to put on the end if I wish. And here we have intermediate tip, we have a sink 3 tip and a sink 6 tip. And out of these 3 tips, you'll find that this will cover most situations in any given normal summer situation. This little pouch then, of course, is to hold these tips and also to hold tapered leaders. Now, I am a big fan of tapered leaders, and I like to have them in 9-foot lengths, and I also like to have them in 15-foot lengths. Well, I will also have them down to a certain diameter at the end. But tapered leaders are good to have, and of course on the end of the tapered leaders we have our tippet. And here we have 2 types of tippets. We've got the Powerflex and we have the Fluoroflex. And then it gives me a decision as to whether I want to use fluorocarbon or normal monoline. At the end of that, of course, we're going to attach the fly, the bit that's really important. So we have boxes, and I love boxes. And people who know me know I love boxes, and I must say I've been blessed that most of these boxes are presents. This one was made for me by Paul Amos, beautiful box. And this would be housing the slightly bigger flies that I would carry. This little box here then was given to me by a lovely lady who lives in the US, and this would be micro flies. And this would be for extreme conditions when the water is very low. So I've got a box for low flies, low water flies, normal size flies, and here then I would have a slightly larger version of flies, just to give me the variety. And as well as liking boxes, I also like tins. And there's a lovely young gentleman comes to me every year and fishes with me. His name is Tig, and Tig knows I love tins. So he got this little tin, and he designed it, and he put foam and everything into it. And what I really love about this box is not only did he tie the flies himself, and they're the flies that I would mostly use on the River Blackwater when I'm working there. But also he has a selection of trout flies. So I can change if I don't want to salmon fish anymore and the trout start to rise, then I have some lovely trout flies here as well. Then of course we have all sorts of different bits and pieces. And there's things that I've had for many years and I'm really quite sentimental. So this is probably my most treasured possession. This is a lanyard given to me by an old lady, probably about 30 years ago. And on this lanyard goes all of the rest of the bits and pieces that I would need on a daily basis. So you can see my forceps, well used. You can see my clippers, also well used. And this interesting gadget is to eat up any spare tippet that we might have. This was also given to us by a lovely older French gentleman. So if you have some tippet material that you don't need, you of course cannot discard it on the ground. So what we do is we place it in this hole and we wind, and the tippet gets eaten up into this container. And then at the end of the day, when we get home and somewhere safe to discard of this, we can pull this out and take it out and get rid of it. I just love it. It's beautifully made. Listen. It's just a beautiful piece of equipment. And I just love it. You can see it's magnetic and you can hear it. Okay. So, next bit, we've had the forceps, we've had the clippers. What else do I have? So, notebook, of course. When you're out in the river, you get so many bright ideas, and trust me, if you don't write them down there and then, by the time you get home, you've forgotten what they are. They could be business ideas. They could be things that I want to write about in my book. They could be suggestions that people have given me, or things that I've spotted that I maybe need to learn more about. So I like to keep a notebook and a pen. This one's great, it's waterproof. And a couple of other things that we have left is that we need something to drink, and I always carry water. This is really not enough, so I usually have spare water in my car. I like it because it keeps it nice and cold. And of course we have some snacks and a little box of snacks, nothing too big really. We tend to be doing a lot more fishing than eating when we're out there, and so what I have is, these are just like pumpkin seeds. And of course the very last thing, that who knows when we might need these. So these days I try to carry only what I'm going to use in my bag. And what you see here on the table is what I would typically have in my bag on a day's guiding.
So guys, I hope that video helps you out the next time you're packing your bag to go fishing. And I suppose what Glenda's saying there is to try and bring only what you need. It's a long enough day at the riverbank sometimes without carrying extra weight of stuff that we might not need, or that's not applicable to the current conditions, I suppose. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one. And until then, tight loops.